Hi, my name is Taureena. I am going to attempt to share my testimony based off of the teachings that Ashley June taught just in regards to testimony. So I'll be looking at that just to keep my points clear. so, my testimony it starts as a child. Um, I grew up in a home where there was a lot of yelling, a single parent household, um, financial hardship, and um, yeah, just not having all of the things that I needed emotionally. But I did grow up in a family that knew Jesus, that knew God. Um, as the years went on, I, as I got older, um, I want to say I went through some depression, and I, just did not want to be home. So I had this thing where I would look at um, my life and I would observe people around me and I would watch them make mistakes and I would just like steer clear, from those things. So I was someone who, based off of watching the mistakes of my mom, watching the mistakes of those around me, I would plan my life according, in that way. So I left home at the age of 20. I wanted to go to college, get a degree, get married, have kids. I wanted to do it in that order. So yeah, I left home at 20 after returning back home from going away to college for a semester. It wasn't the school that I wanted. So I came home. I didn't want to waste the money. Went to community college. After moving with my family, we moved every 3 years. And that was a result of increase in rent, and we could never repay it. So after moving, regularly like that, one of the last places that I moved with my family was a tiny one-story home where I was on the couch. My older brother and I were on the couch, and we had this thing, dynamic with my siblings and I. We did not really talk to each other. Our household, again, was not really connected emotionally. We weren't really close, but we were all in one house, but we would really just go in our own separate corners, so we didn't really have a bond or a connection. We weren't really connected in that way. So my mom had this thing where she would yell and things when she got tired, whether it's the house dirty or whatever was going on. She'd yell, and understanding, as a single parent, understanding that and understanding her frustration and having very limited help. And the hope that she did have did not make her feel good about it. So being older, I understand now, but going through it, her yelling traumatized me, a lot. So, and to see my siblings and I today, how we responded, growing up as kids, we all responded in very different ways. One of my siblings would argue back with her. Another sibling would just pay her no attention. I was very emotional, so I was a crier. So I would cry. It would make me very nervous. I felt traumatized by all of the yelling. So I was very timid if I didn't know you. And I had to really get close to you to really open up. So my friends saw more of who I was. But even with them, I struggled to really open up to them. So fast forward to this house where we were in, and I'm on the couch. My older sibling is on the couch, and my mom is having one of her fits, and she's yelling and tossing things around. Now, previously, I could just go in my room and close the door. I could put my headphones in and just tune her out. Now I'm in this open space where I feel exposed. I have nowhere to hide. So at the same time, I have transitioned jobs, and I am going into a new relationship, someone that I met at work. Turns out he is going to be looking for a place to stay, and I didn't want to be with my mom, so we moved in together. This is after us knowing each other for about 3 months, and then about 6 months into us knowing each other, or about 8 months knowing each other, I ended up getting pregnant. Now, I had a plan to defer an acceptance from college so that I could save money to go, because I didn't have the money to go. But when I found out I was pregnant, I scratched that and I continued with community college. So I ran away from dysfunction and went into more dysfunction with someone I barely knew. Just thinking that I could do better. A couple of years went by after a few warnings from God on the importance of severing this time. I finally caught wind to that, graduated college, and God made a way for me to physically separate from this person. Now, in the midst of that separation, and that was with me really surrendering my life to God. Before I moved in with that person, I gave my life to God when I was about 6, but it was when I was about 19 when I got baptized. And I really started to get close to God. And then I met this guy who I was dating. And it was a really big distraction for a very long time. So I had one ear listening to God, and I had another ear with the influence of this man. So after getting really close to God, after he led me to quit my job, and this was in 2019, just before COVID, I spent a lot of quiet time with God. I spent a lot of time going to church. And the closer I got to God, the more I began to see this person who I was living with, who I had a child with, for what it was. And he began to remove the scales off my eyes and really reveal. And in that time, I became a yes woman, or just not really speaking up for myself. Again, I was very timid. And as I got older, as I matured, and as I got closer to God, and just really prioritized his relationship, some boldness came out. And when I began to say no, when I began to actually speak on things that I did not agree with and how I really felt about things, there was conflict that I had to work through, to the point where I found myself having panic attacks, and my health was really taking a toll. So a lot of separations happened. God made a way for me to separate from my daughter's father. He also separated me for about a year from my family. And in that time, as I got close to him, he brought me into community by his doing, and I got even more close to him. And he began to teach me his ways, and he began to start the healing process with me. And when I returned back in communication with my family, I began to see, the differences. And in that process, the Lord helped me to, and it took a couple more years of more refining and bumping my head and making some mistakes, that the Lord began to show me grace, and He taught me to have grace for those around me. And in that process, through trial and error, through being tested, through those relationships around me, I learned to set healthy boundaries. I learned to have more confidence. I learned to take things to Him first before reacting, before responding. And I really learned to acknowledge the raw feelings of feeling hurt and where the anger came from, where the fear came from. And as I took those things to Him, He led me in His Word, and He taught me how to respond in love by learning how He responded in love and how He handled people. And I just got in the habit of continuing to do that and allowing Him to minister to me through those who He sent to walk with me through each season, which changed from time to time. And yeah, I've been able to be a blessing to others and teach them the very necessary lessons that I learned, and helped walk them through specific situations of their own. So in this season, He's calling me to walk with others in regards to family dysfunction. We all have families. We all have certain, relationships in our families that might be a little bit more rocky, or maybe a little bit more difficult speaking to, someone specific in our family versus another person or another relative in our family. And in this season, God is really looking to address those things, because before we can even be on fire for God in the church, if our house is not in order, that's going to reflect. And one thing that He told me recently is, hey, listen, if you treat your family the way that you treat them, what do you think you're going to do once you get really comfortable and walking in your own skin confidently, once you get around those who I send your way? That mask is going to come off and you are going to bleed on those who I've sent for you to encourage and uplift and help heal. So we got to work on that heart. So He took me through that process, and He's taught me how to love others around me, and welcome those in the faith and outside of the faith, the stranger, in love. So yeah, that's my testimony. I know it was all over the place. I'm still working on it, but I hope it made sense, and I hope that it blesses someone. Okay. I hope this video blessed and encouraged you today. As you heard, I walk with people who have faced similar challenges in their relationships, offering guidance and support through life coaching. If you're looking for an accountability partner, someone to help you see your relationships in a different way, if you're looking for honest, faith-based insight, and you're looking for someone to work with you to change how you respond to your circumstances, let's talk. Right now, I'm offering free 30-minute consultation calls via Zoom, where we'll discuss the areas that you want to improve. We will go through some assessment questions to make sure that coaching is the right fit for you. And I am going to share my coaching approach to your situation. Right now, I have an exclusive 8-session coaching package that is going to be reserved for 10 clients during this tax season. This is the perfect time to invest in yourself and your relationships. The relationships aren't going anywhere, so may as well. We'll go over some accountability tips, goal setting, and practical strategies that you can start applying immediately in your life. So go ahead over to my link tree, it's in my description, and book your free consult today. And as always, grace, mercy, and so much peace.